Hello, this is RICKY, the Android guy. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Android Weekly / Android Q&A, where we give you all the latest news on the mobile world and then answer all of your questions. If you haven't been familiar with the show, first we start off by giving you the weekly news that happened during the week. Then we follow up with answering all emailed questions that were emailed to me during the week. So if you have a question, just ask me at asktheandroidguy@gmail.com, as seen right there, and make sure your subject is question. Then finally, we answer all live questions that are given. So if you're watching this live, well, then just feel free to ask your question right down in the comment section below, and I will get to it at the end of the show. All right, guys, let's start this off and see how it is. So first and foremost, let's start off by, sorry, I want to make sure you're not getting any kind of wind. Let me know if it's windy, guys. Sorry, just a little hot in here, so I turn on the AC. All right, let's get started with the news. So the first bit of news is there's a lot of S6 and HTC M9 news. So let's get right to it. All right. First of all, half metal jacket. So we were talking about that the frame will be metal, and that basically it'll be a metal frame around it on the Galaxy S6 and S6 Edge. As you might know, that there is lots of things saying that there will be two variants, just like on the Note and Note Edge, that there will be a S6 and S6 Edge. However, the S6 Edge is rumored to have double-sided screens compared to the Edge, which only has one-sided. Then we have a Korean analyst that says it will definitely be 4 gigs of RAM. This is quickly turning into a possibility, simply for the fact that we do have 64-bit processors now, which is very likely to be on the Galaxy S6. So because of that, it gives us the ability to indeed have 4 gigs of RAM and it be useful. Then other reports are saying it will not be waterproof. Now, one of the main reasons it is rumored not to be waterproof is simply for the fact that it is not, if it's going to be a metal device, then it will most likely not be waterproof. That's why last week's talk about it being all glass instead of metal, then it could be waterproof, as we've seen on the Sony Xperias. And then in the second to last one for the S6, it will not have a Snapdragon 810. However, Qualcomm has already said that they are actually working to fix this, because basically Qualcomm said, this is a bit back and forth. Qualcomm simply stated, Samsung stated, oh, we can't use Qualcomm 810 because of overheating issues. LG was like, we don't have any overheating issues, and we have it in the Flex too. Qualcomm then said, no, we'll fix the overheating issues for Samsung. And the reason why that is, sorry guys, the reason why that is just because of the fact that you have to, Samsung sales, LG sales. Qualcomm wants to make them happy. So basically, if it is because of overheating issues, Qualcomm will fix that, because let's face it, at least as of right now, I know LG sold more phones and everything like that, but they are selling lower tier phones. They're not selling high-end phones either, just like the other ones. So the big difference with this is that, you know, LG, say on their G3, might sell about 10 million in maybe 6 months. I did not follow the G3 sales as much as I should have. But to give you an example, you know, Samsung sold 11 million in 1 month. Of one phone, and that's the S series. So, you know, because of that, Qualcomm's livelihood, or basically most of their business, is coming from Samsung. And, you know, Samsung did not only use them on that device, but they pretty much use them across the board on most of their devices. They use the Snapdragon. So because of that, you better believe that, yes, they definitely want it to be good for Samsung, so that Samsung will use them. Of course, the rumor was that they would use their Exynos processor, which is homemade. Samsung makes it themselves. If that comes about or not, well, we'll see. All right, then the last bit of news is that the S6 will have a 20 megapixel optical image stabilization lens inside, made by Samsung. So this will be made by Samsung, just like it was for the 16 megapixel on the on the S5. So it should be the same kind of camera quality that's on the S5, which was very good, of course. But this time with optical image stabilization, just like the Note 4 had, but then 20 megapixels, so even more attention to detail. Really good overall for that purpose. All right, now let's move on. The HTC One M9. All right, so not to be outdone, HTC is also supposed to be going to have 20 megapixel camera, 810 processor from Qualcomm, no overheating issues, or I guess it won't stop them if they do. And it's supposed to have Dolby audio. If for those of you who don't know, HTC no longer owns part of Beats anymore, so they stopped using Beats after the M7, and the M8 did not have Beats, and neither will the M9. So they had to switch to someone else, so they are now partnering with Dolby Audio. All right. And then what else did they have to report? Well, they had to report that, can this be the HTC M9? And this was a really interesting thing, because I made fun of it saying, hey, it's the top of an HTC and the bottom of a Samsung. And the reason for this is because that it is completely believed that HTC will have a fingerprint scanner on the front, which would look kind of like this. But why would they, if HTC really still does this, puts HTC on the front, just wasting screen space, I just don't get it. I thought they would have learned their lesson by now. But hopefully that's not the real thing. So this is the big 20 megapixel camera that's being talked about, of course, for it. And then this is, the one for the front camera. However, HTC is actually throwing people off, saying that now we're hearing that actually it's going to look more like the Desire series on the front. So actually the one will look like this more so than like the HTC One M8, which was more similar to what we just saw in the leak. So, but the thing about this is, so then the speakers would be here, so thinner speakers, and it's fine as long as the sound's there. Hey, it's all good. As long as we have the sound, that's what we need. And then finally with HTC, could this be it? We see a phone right here and huge camera sensor, just like we were supposed to see in the M9, and it's just right there. So really interesting if this is the HTC M9. And again, as we've seen in all these pictures, by the way, no more two cameras. HTC learned their lesson and they got rid of that. So that is done with. Now a bit of news on smartwatches. So the biggest two smartwatches to be anticipated in 2015 in terms of high volume sales, we can expect it to be from both Apple and Samsung. With Apple, they are targeting a 19-hour total battery life. Now keep in mind, this is basically like a standby time of both being active and passive, but basically it's only accounting for 2.5 to 4 hours of active usage. They are saying that people only need to look at their watch and with the screen on about 3.5 hours during the day, and that everything else should be fine. I don't know where they're getting this information from. Apparently they have done research on this, but I cannot stand charging a watch every night. It's annoying to me. It's something that I do not have to do with my Gear S. And it's one of the reasons why I didn't like a lot of the Android Wear watches, with the exception of the LG, which I still need to test out. But every other Android Wear watch you need to charge nightly, and it's annoying. And this is even less than nightly. You're not even getting through the full day. By the time you get home and you charge it, oh wait, because it's Apple. So there we go. I mean, it shows that Apple still thinks they don't need to, kind of like, we're Apple, we don't need to do it. And you know what? They might be right, but it's a horrible practice, I feel. And the Samsung Round Watch. Well, the Round Watch is supposed to have a ring. They're calling it Orbis. It's supposed to be the code name. Like we've heard that Project Zero is the code name for the S6. Basically, Samsung's always full of code names. They used to use last year, I think it was like L or B, or I don't know, some letter. They always use L. Now they're using more words, I guess. So we have this here. Now, the idea behind this is in Sam Mobile, they went on a full scale talk about it, but basically that the Ring would actually operate all of its features, from rotating it to see the time, to find your device, to rotate it to a different, basically, so you're rotating the dial to go between the different apps. When you're in apps like the music player, rotating it right or left will kind of go forward and back. And same thing with receiving call. Instead of touching the screen to receive the call, you can just rotate the dial. But it looks like you can kind of do both, which is kind of interesting. As well as it will have a crown, so it's going to have this button, just like the Apple one and the LG one have really made a nice button stand out, kind of the old style watch. So that's going to be on the Samsung as well. It's supposed to be at MWC. If it is, we'll see. And yes, the other thing about the watch is that it's going to have the best form of charging that most people have liked, which is wireless charging. This is a great practice. I do like that it's a wireless charger. However, again, Samsung is going to make you buy another charger, basically, which I'm just sick of. Every single Gear I've had has been a different charger, and I think that's a horrible, horrible practice that I hope Samsung will change. But if this is going to be a wireless charger, it looks like it won't necessarily change. But we'll have to wait and see. All right, guys, now I'm going to get to the questions that were emailed to me during the week. If you have a question, again, please ask it in the comment section down below if you're watching it live. And if you're not watching live, just email me at asktheandroidguy@gmail.com, and I will try to answer it next week. All right, so Jesus Jones asked, first of all, Jesus, you did a really, really good, he actually did a really great suggestion. Basically, you know, I unfortunately always kind of show you guys my phones when someone asks a question about a phone. And, you know, I kind of have to show it off in a really poor manner. It's like I'm showing it off like this. And it's just, I wish I could do it better. So he made a really smart suggestion of doing Samsung SideSync. SideSync allows me to mirror my phone to the TV, to my computer. However, it cannot work this way. Unfortunately, SideSync I can mirror to my phone, but Hangouts does not pick up SideSync. So that unfortunately cannot work. So that's why I can't do it. But really good suggestion, Jesus. Thank you for that. And if you guys ever have any suggestions, feel free to email me and let me know. I mean, any suggestions I'm always open to, and I always will hear out because I thank you guys for viewing me always. So if you guys ever have any suggestions, please feel free to tell me. All right. Now he was having problems with Gmail email app because it groups the emails basically, and it does them in conversation instead of doing it kind of like a splitting it up. Unfortunately, that's the way Gmail is. You would have to use a third-party app, which there are plenty of them. Samsung's built-in email app does this basically. So it's not conversational. Instead, it's, you know, date, order, and everything like that, and simple. Gmail has gone away from this. I do believe you can. So I've looked over the phone app. The phone app can't do anything about this. But I believe if you change it from conversational on the web browser, then maybe it'll change it on the phone. But that's the only thing that I believe could be. I have not tried this. I didn't get to try it out before the show, but that's my suggestion for it. So yes, that's what I would recommend. As for your other question, you also asked a question on you're getting on your subscriptions, you're getting 2 emails. Yeah, I would completely just like you said, turn off the email subscription and then turn it back on, and hopefully that will allow you to only get 1 email. Or maybe if you turn it off, you'll get 1 email. Maybe you're signing in 2 Gmail accounts. Maybe that's what's going on. But yeah, I would try those features. All right. Chris asked, why is there so much emphasis on Apple allegedly cutting into Samsung's market share? I read an article on Tech Buffalo. Oh, I'm sorry, you have to read Tech Buffalo. Just and they suggest that Samsung is losing and Apple is gaining. What is your take on this? Well, they are. However, it's mostly in the U.S. Apple has gained market share over the last quarter, which is, you know, October, November, December. they've gained market share in the US compared to Samsung, which has lost market share. You know, Samsung, I believe, is at 26%, and Apple's at around 50%. Now, this is different from last year where Samsung was, I think, at about 32%. And Apple was, I think, around 46, 47%. So, you know, there's been some changes. And it's not dramatic, I would say, as a lot of the fear-mongering. Look, these news websites, they put out whatever is going to get them hits. And it sucks because they're going to tell you Samsung is falling, Apple is falling, HTC is falling, or they broke records. They're going to type whatever headlines gets them that. Then when you click on the source and the source and the source from that, then you get the real information, which is not usually as dramatic. And that's one thing that, you know, especially certain websites like the aforementioned one, yeah, they kind of exaggerate. You can kind of think of it as like a Fox News or Comedy Central, even with their news. Like, you know, they exaggerate the news, and that's what they're doing. So yes. So yeah, it has changed, and even worldwide. Xiaomi is really taking China by storm, and they were already taking China by storm, but they've really gained a market share over in China. And so since Samsung was doing well in China, that took away from Samsung too. So because of that, yes, but don't get me wrong, as much as they're saying Samsung is losing market share, Samsung's revenue is only second to Apple in the entire mobile universe. Heck, pretty much in the entire tech universe, is second only to Apple, really. They beat out Google. They beat out, I mean, when it comes to revenue, Samsung is a top dog. When it comes to phone sales, Samsung is still 20 million more than Apple. So even, and this is on a slope and a downtime. So you have to realize that they are on a whole nother level when it comes to sales and revenue and everything from most of the cell phone manufacturers out there. So, but they are taking hits. So, and it's more so in the face of the industry than sales. You know, it's kind of like in the face of the industry right now. Apple is like, you haven't given us too much new stuff. But in sales, Apple's like, I don't care. I'm selling like crazy. So it's kind of like that. In terms of, you've read articles that Samsung will be changing the chip to a 64-bit. I believe this wholeheartedly. They will have a 64-bit chip, whether it be an Exynos processor or whether it be a Snapdragon 810 processor. It will be 64-bit regardless. Whether this means we'll see 4 gigs of RAM, that remains to be seen. But just the reason why is because I think Google is going to have better luck with 64-bit than Apple has had thus far. If you take a look at Apple, not one of their apps is 64-bit. However, in February, to rectify this, if you're a new developer, you have to change your app to be 64-bit compatible, meaning that it takes advantage of 64-bit processing, which none of theirs do right now. So that will happen. With Android, Lollipop is going to be able to utilize 64-bit. So because of that, you will see better results in 64-bit. Now, 64-bit is only going to raise it about 5 to 10% more at most. But really, the advantage of 64-bit is the 4 gigs of RAM that we can now have in our devices, which you can't on a 4 gigs of RAM does not operate on a 32-bit chip. So now that it's going to be 64-bit, now it's more that's where it shows its worth. All right, Robin asked about the MHL adapter for would it be working with the Galaxy Note and the Galaxy Note 3 Neo. These are two devices I unfortunately did not have. I did not have the Galaxy Note. My first Note was the Note 2, and the Note 3 Neo I did not have. But what you're saying is that the Note 3 Neo does not support MHL. It's not MHL enabled. And you want to know if you get the Samsung MHL adapter, which I have around here somewhere. If you get that adapter, will it work with your phone? No, just because it's a Samsung MHL versus a regular MHL, it doesn't matter, actually. You can get a Samsung one or a non-Samsung one. They both operate the same. So because of this, it won't work. If it's not MHL compatible, it's not going to work. Just like I've hated to tell so many people that their Tab 4, Tab 3, Tab 2, 7-inch models are not MHL compatible. None of them are. And that's one thing that most reps don't even know that sell it to you. You know, they won't know that that's one of the big differences between the 7-inch and the 8-inch. The 8-inch can connect wirelessly or wired to your TV, which the 7-inch cannot. So that's a big miss that people always don't know about. All right. So, and the next person is Luck. I'm gonna go with Luck, L-U-C. Hi, I'll buy a smartwatch of Samsung, but I have a few more questions. Works with Spotify on the smartwatch as a standalone? No, there is not Spotify, although there was a new radio that just came to it. For the longest time, Milk Music has been the only standalone streaming music that the Gear S can have. A new one just came out for it today. I'll probably do a video on it if it's that well known, or I just might do a video on it anyway. But that one is no one, but no, not Spotify. Spotify is not going to work when the Gear S is a standalone device, meaning when it's away from your phone. It will not work without your phone. Get your notification when there is a WhatsApp message on your phone. So yes, you can get all of your WhatsApp messages. You can see them on your notifications from your phone. You can see all of your notifications from your phone. Doesn't matter what app it is. I don't get notifications for Instagram. I just don't get the notifications. It's not for me. But even certain apps now are actually starting to show the picture on my Gear S, I'm noticing, which didn't happen before. But like when someone sends me a text message of a picture, I can see the picture here now. So that is something newer. But yes, but you can see messages on your phone if they have the notification from WhatsApp. So as long as WhatsApp gives you notification, it will be on your Gear S. And then finally, Jane asked, how do I take great videos and edit them on my Galaxy S5? So how you take great videos is you film them with smooth motion, which is one of the 10 hidden features on my videos for the, sorry, just looking for one. Okay, so that's one of my 10 hidden features for the Galaxy S5. So make sure to look in that. Smooth motion is amazing, and every video that I record with it, people are always saying, wow, that looks like an amazing video. And so it looks really good. However, in terms of video editing, I've had a lot of people ask me about this, and you guys are going to hear it here first before I do a video on it later on. Probably within the next 2 weeks, I'm going to do a video on this one. But a lot of people have always asked me, what is a good video editing app? And I've searched high and low, and I have finally found one, which is called KineMaster. So if you can see that right there, KineMaster. So that one is the best video editing app I have yet to see, and it's really, really good from what I've seen, and what it can do is very impressive on a phone, but it can do pretty much all of your basic video. It can do probably more than you thought it could. Let me just put it that way. At least for my expectations were pretty low for a phone video editor. You know, I think, oh, it can like trim, it can like maybe add some music. No, it does a lot. Transition-wise, editing-wise, filter-wise, lower third-wise. You can do a lot with it. So I would definitely recommend checking it out. It's a free one with ads, or you can pay for it. No, actually, I don't think. No, this one was a free one all around, I believe. Yes, so that was the best one by far. Actually, no, I think you can pay for it to get rid of ads or something like that, or to get rid of the watermarks. I think it leaves a watermark or something like that. I have to look more. I have to edit more with it. But yes, I played around with it. It was a recommended one by a lot of my friends, and when I finally saw it, I completely agree. So yes, that is the one that I recommend for video editing. All right, let's take a look at the comments and questions down below. All right, so Tom, hello again. I asked a question earlier on Q&A, if you remember, but now I have a new question. Have you rooted your Galaxy Note 4? If yes, do you run any custom ROMs on it? I have not rooted my Note 4. To be honest, I was the biggest rooter up until about the S3. Didn't need to anymore. Found Foxfi, had my free hotspot. Didn't need to anymore. That was the main reason I rooted. When I did root, and when I still look on my rooting on XDA developers and everything like that, I mainly used detoxed versions of what I had. So you always have the choice, of course, to do a custom ROM, like Cyanogen is obviously the most well-known one. And then each phone usually had, like, you know, whatever router or ROM creator basically did for that one. But yeah, so there was a lot of different ones. In my opinion, I still like overall just a detox version of my phone. All the junk out that they took out, and then it's fine. Hello, if you launch Nova Launcher on your Note 4, what features can't you use from TouchWiz? You can use all the features from TouchWiz. That's why it's so great. I am a big proponent of that. I do like a lot of the features that TouchWiz. I've never gone a day without using split screen. Never gone a day without using it. So I'm a big proponent of a lot of things with TouchWiz. Split screen would be my most, like, if stock Android had touch, I would take a little bit more look into it. But until it does, it's just not even a question. I'm going to have TouchWiz for that purpose alone. And I've seen third-party ones that are just not as clean, not as good. But yes, you can use every feature on TouchWiz, even with Nova on there. So that's why I love it so much. Eve Hill, what's up, Rick? What do you think of Project Aura? I talked about this last week, actually, Eve Hill. I don't know if you missed out on this. But yeah, someone asked me, it might have been you that asked me last week or 2 weeks ago on Project Aura. Project Aura, I think, is a really cool concept, but it really will depend on what manufacturers back it. What processors am I going to be dealing with? Am I going to be dealing with MediaTek processors because they're desperate and they'll, you know, attach themselves to anything? Am I going to be dealing to Snapdragon processors and the latest ones? Am I going to be dealing with Exynos processors? Am I going to be dealing with Intel processors? This is one thing about Project Aura that they've still been kind of finicky with, and which I really want to know. So these are things that I have to get my answers for before I confirm Project Aura that I like it. Also, what cameras? Is Sony going to be making? You know, it's things like this. Who's going to be backing it? Is what I need to see and what I want to see. So yes, that's what I'm struggling with, basically. All right, Tom. Hey, Tom again. Do you have any good quality carbon back covers that you recommend for the Note 4? No. The main one I had for the Note 4, as I've shown videos on it before, was this metal backing, which was really nice. It was a little fingerprint hype, you know, but very nice. Really good aluminum body to it, and it really feels good. I liked it for a long time. I kind of got bored of it. I get bored of cases and covers and all that. I never stay too long on them. But the reason I actually took this off was because I began using my Gear VR a lot, and this doesn't really fit properly. It's a little bit off, and not to mention the Gear VR, really heats up the device. Because it heats up with this, this gets hotter than leather. So then it really, really feels hot. So that's why I stopped using it for the most part, was because of my Gear VR, which I love. All right. Will you plan on any review for the Xperia Z3 or Z4? I am so glad you asked that, Kronos DB. So Kronos, at CES, and I'm still working on them. At CES, my goal was to get a lot of contact information. So I could get Sony's contact information, LG's contact information, NVIDIA's contact information, so many accessory manufacturers, so I can bring you guys more accessories. I feel like that's one thing that I could be doing better right now is more accessories for you guys. And I know that was one of the asks too. When I did Note 4 videos, everyone kind of asked me, man, I really want some better accessories videos for the Note 4. And I was like, holy shit, I don't have a lot of accessories videos. So I'm going to start doing more of those now, and you'll see those coming out. But you asked about the Xperia Z3. So I did contact Sony and tell them that I did want to review their Z3 and Z3 compact tablet. So I did request that in. I literally just got done with half of the stack from CES because I pretty much got like about 20 different contacts. I got another bunch right here. As you can see in videos on the top right now. That's one I still need to do right now. And I had a lot of contacts that I was emailing and asked them. So hopefully we'll get more devices. Believe me, I want to review the Xperia Z3. Hopefully Sony will send it to me. And hopefully if they're seeing this, they will see that people, and I told them, look, people have asked me, you are not the only one, Kronos. A lot of people have asked me about it, and I was really wanting to see it. What do I think about the I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. But what do I think about the HoloLens? I thought the HoloLens was the coolest part of Windows Conference. I know I used to review all the conferences. I haven't had the time. This week I have not had one day off, and like today, which it was my only day off, I spent the entire day emailing all these contacts. So, but yes, I thought it was the coolest part of Windows Conference. The HoloLenses were really cool, and the fact it really made it like a Tony Stark kind of thing, where you're viewing outside of it and putting it together. It's always about development, though. This is what it's all about. It's all who's going to develop for it. Windows apps on Windows 8 have been nothing because what? No one likes Windows 8. Let's face it, no one likes Windows 8. So that hurt them. The reason why I've loved my Gear VR, and when people ask, oh, well, how much can you really do with it? Well, the coolest thing is that every single week, I've had it for about a month and a half now. Every single week, there's been 2 to 4 apps that have come out for it. And it's because they have such a good connection for Oculus. Anyone that develops something for Oculus can move over to the Gear VR. So that's what's so cool about it. It's all about content and creating it. I mean, you have a company like Harmonix who make Guitar Hero that's now going to make a game, I'm supposing. I don't know if it's an app or a game, but a game for the Gear VR. So this is the kind of thing that you need to get that support. And HoloLenses has a lot of cool things. Obviously, they have Minecraft, which is very cool. But yeah, I will buy it in a second. I am a big fan of it. I really like the idea. I just wanted to see what they can make for it. I'm thinking about getting the PadFone X. I couldn't find a good review or videos on it. Have you ever tested it or tried it, and what do you think about it? Why are you getting it? No. Why get the Pad X? Yeah. The Pad X I don't think is the greatest. I thought it was a great concept. Great concept. But I mean, great concept. Great concept. But yeah, no, in their execution it wasn't that good. Nothing about it was that great. Yeah, the battery life wasn't that good. The camera was one of the worst things. Those are the 2 things I always look for. If a phone's going to be my daily driver, people always ask me, you review all these products. What's your daily driver? My Note 3 was my daily driver until I got the Note Edge. Reasons why? 2 big reasons: battery life and camera. If I don't have a good battery life for camera, it cannot be my daily driver. I might love the G3. I might love the HTC One M8. I might love a lot of things about those devices. But guess what? Because I diminished in camera and battery life, I didn't stay with them. I will always give you guys honesty. I will always give you guys honesty. If the Flex 2 is as good as what I saw on the sales floor at CES, who knows? I might switch out my Edge for that one. But I will always give you guys honesty in that aspect. I need to have good battery life and good camera. The PadFone wasn't that good in it. I don't like stock Android. I've said it many times. I'm not a purist, so I don't like the interface of the PadFone either. And yeah, it was a great concept, but I think not as good as execution as it could have been. And now you see the PadFone 2 as a prepaid product, which I was surprised when I saw that at Target. I was like, the PadFone is prepaid now? So yeah, and it's because AT&T didn't sell it that well, so then they put it to prepaid. So yeah, that's my thing on it. I'm not the biggest fan of it. And I would say it's a little bit older at this point to kind of, I always recommend get the best thing at the time, because if you don't, then, you know, if you're not the kind that upgrades every 2 years or every year, then you want something that lasts a long time. So get the better thing so it lasts longer. If you are the kind of person that updates every so often, then you're probably gonna get the best thing anyway. So yes. Is there a way to root the LG Volt without having to flash it? No. So this legit guy Juan, you need to root, or you need a flash in order to root. Your flashing is, you know, is unlocking the bootloader and putting your custom ROM on it. That's what it is. So in order to root, that is what rooting is. That is it. They're synonyms. Rooting and flashing is flashing it to root it. So yes. Eve Hill, just FYI for everyone, if you don't know, Minima wallpaper is awesome. Yes, it is. Version 4.4.2. Yes. So yeah, legit guy. That's what you have to do. Hi, desktop. M desktop. Can you review Android Lollipop for the Galaxy Note 4 using CyanogenMod? Again, I don't root. That is not what I wanted to do for this channel. A lot of people have asked me that, to even possibly do a second channel for rooting. And I just don't have the time. I'm going to be straight up honest with you guys. I just wouldn't have the time to do it. Rooting takes time. It does. And the thing I don't like about rooting is you constantly have to update. Say if I had 4.4.4 KitKat on my Note 4 right now. Guess what? Lollipop's out now. So I have to, you know, you basically, when flashing or when rooting, you always want to do a clean wipe so that you have no problems. Because if you don't, you're going to have problems. If you root and you just move over from 4.4.4 to 5.0, you're going to have issues. So all the best rooters always clean wipe it. And then it's just setting up everything. Look, Nova will back up my wallpaper, will back up my setup for the most part now. Google will have my apps. It's just a process that I just don't like to do. I don't like to redo it over. And that's why I wasn't the biggest fan of rooting. That's why when launchers really started to be just aces, that I didn't need it anymore. I mean, my Note Edge will beat most people's ROMs just because of how fast it is. And that's just because it has my Nova launcher on it. And it's faster than most people's other ROMs. Samsung allows me to remove the bloatware too, so I can take off all that, you know, T-Mobile, Samsung, Google crap that I don't use. So I'm happy. I don't need to root anymore. And I have like I said, I have Foxfire for my hotspot. So why root? Why? If my launcher makes me happy for the interface and everything else is up to speed and par, I don't need to root anymore. So that's why I don't personally root anymore. But the reason why you don't see me rooting on my channel more so is more so because of the time. It takes time, and you know, it's a process of showing the computer, showing your phone, and showing all the steps to it, and then constantly needing to reflash and reflash and reflash. It just takes a lot of time, and I can't do it. I designed this channel as a techie person, to bring it to simple terms. That's what I designed the channel for. So that if you're a really techie person, hey, you're going to love this channel because I'm going to give you 10 hidden features on your phone that no one else knew about, not even all these other websites. but I'm also going to have it set up for the person that's buying their very first tablet to know everything about it and know how to set it up and know how to make it the best tablet. So that's how I designed this this website for, or this channel for. Kronos, what do you really think was the reason for Google Glass demise? I didn't see any need for it. I loved the idea of Google Glass, actually. I loved it. If you ever saw my Instagram, I actually tested Google Glass at the campus they have in Venice. I loved Google Glass. I loved it. The interface was awesome. It just made sense. I raised my head and the screen pops up. It was just so intuitive. I loved Google Glass. The 100% reason for the demise, 100% price. Way too expensive. 1,500 is insane. It's like what I tell people, like when people tell me, oh, well, like, why don't they come out with these bendable screens already? You know they can do it. Why don't they come out with these transparent screens? You know they can do it. Well, because no one's going to buy a $2,000 phone in the masses. It's not going to sell. You know, Samsung right now can make a bendable phone. They have bendable batteries. They have bendable screens. They have processors and RAM that can take it. Being bendy, not bendable. But they have all this technology out already. They have transparent. They literally made a working transparent phone for the Avengers Age of Ultron demo. So why don't we see these products? Because they're going to be $2,000, $3,000 because the technology costs too much right now. And that's what was the problem with Google Glass. You're not going to sell a product for $1,500 and people will buy in masses. That's why it never gained support. It never, ever gained support. And it couldn't. It couldn't. It was too high of a price. And especially on a newer technology that wasn't proven. And that, you know, it just, they needed to do better. They really did. And 1,500 was too expensive. If Google Glass, you know, whatever, 3.0 maybe it would be by now, because they had the XEA2 edition and they had the XEA 2.1 with the more RAM. If they came out with Google Glass 3.0 in June, $600, I'll buy it right away. Right away. And it's because it's a really cool concept. The fact that it can connect with my phone, and you know, because it could do either or. It could do what my watch could. It can connect through it, or it could be a standalone device. So I really love the concept of Google Glass that I could just talk. You know, as cool as this is cooler. This is cooler right here. This is cooler. Not to mention, wow, yeah, Kronos, if you didn't know, that's what the price was, 1,500. By the way, that was without the cool lenses that they had. That cost you an extra $200 to $400. So it was way overpriced. It was way overpriced. But if, like I said, if they came out with Google Glass for $600 with, like, you know, even specs like we have on Android Wear, but with maybe 8 to 16 gigs, it would sell. It would sell. And Google, if you're watching, which you watch everything, so I'm sure. No, yeah, that would sell. That would sell like this. And so I'm a big believer that it would sell very well for $600. I think $600 is a perfect price point for Google Glass. And I think it would do very well. And the lens and the freaking frames should not be like $200, $300, $400. It should have just been, you know, $100 more. And again, that would have sold well. But they overplayed their hand and no one bit. So that's why I wouldn't do it. Tom, removing ads in Android and all apps is one reason to root. Moving ads in Android and actually to remove ads in Android, there's apps outside of the Google Play Store that allow you to do that. Ad blocker will actually take all of that off. So you don't have to have that. So you don't need to do that. And all the apps, again, Samsung allows you to remove them all. Sony doesn't, LG doesn't, HTC doesn't. They do not like to remove all of the apps, but LG does like to disable a good amount of them, but Samsung is the only one I've seen that you can completely remove it pretty much. 6 MBB, 9 out of 410 subscribers. Please help. I'm not sure what you mean. Oh, there's 9 people. I have 11 viewers right now. Maybe that's why. I don't know. No, but I don't have 410 subscribers. I'm not sure what you mean. What specs do you think there are going to be on the Galaxy Note 5? No TouchWiz? No, there will be TouchWiz, but TouchWiz is supposedly, you know, getting a slimming down, which thank God for that. I mean, thank God. It is amazing how much faster my phone is, how much faster my tablet is when I put Nova on there instead of TouchWiz. The interface is substantially quicker, and it's because of TouchWiz. TouchWiz has so much stuff that slows it down. You don't need it. So yeah, no, I agree completely with that. So yes, that's the main thing, is that TouchWiz needs to get slimmed down, and it will. What do I think besides that? It'll be Snapdragon 820, 4 gigs of RAM easily, quad HD processor, 32 gigs of storage, maybe 64 by that point. Yeah, that's my predictions for the Note 5 right now. That's the only predictions I can make. It's too early. Yeah, those are the predictions I'd make right now. Snapdragon 820 processor on there, 4 gigs of RAM. Yeah, that's what I would do. I've added away. I need root for to be able to patch the host file to remove that. It wasn't add away. It was another one that I found that didn't need that patch, Tom. It's been a while. It's been a while. I have not needed to do it for a while, but I remember I found an ad blocker when someone was having this issue, and it blocked the ads after that. So again, I haven't done it for a while. But yeah, so you sideloaded the APK, and then it did that. Yes, Google hates them. Google hates them, ad blockers. I completely agree, of course, because that's how they make their money. They don't want you to block their ads. But yeah, it's been a while, Tom. So it's been a while. I did not need to root it when I installed it on my friend's phone that was having this issue. So it's been a while. I'm not saying that I've done this recently. As far as I remember, I mean, their device wasn't rooted for sure, but it could be different now, possibly, maybe on a new update, 4.4.3 or 4.4.4, because this was at least a year ago, so it was 4.4.2 at the earliest, or 4.4.1 even, or yeah. I don't know if they had KitKat or Jelly Bean, but at that point, that I could do it without the need for it. So yes, at that point, if Google updated something, I'm sure they would have, and that maybe they made it so you did require to root it, possibly. So yes. All right, guys. That was a longer episode than normal. Wow, that was 50 minutes. All right, guys. Well, thank you guys for watching. Glad we had a longer talk this time. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you as always for watching. Please give that thumbs up. I really appreciate it. This has been RICKY, the Android Guy.